Welcome to the Royal Daily Tea YouTube channel. Please be advised all of my videos are for entertainment purposes only, based 100% on my own opinion, my own theories, and my own research. All of my information can be found on the public domain and falls under the fair use guidelines. Please feel free to do your own research. Hello and welcome back to the Royal Daily Tea. I've missed you guys. I'm trying to produce high quality content as fast as I can, but the news stories just keep coming out. So I'm trying to produce stuff that you will enjoy. I know some of you are over the Harry and Meghan news, but unfortunately they literally make news every single day. But rest assured, after all of these videos come out, because I have a couple coming out, I will have some content on other royals and the royal folklore that we discussed in my last video I will be releasing. So I just want to let you know I'm working hard to make everyone happy, and of course that is hard to do. But now let's get on to the royal tea. So to say I told you so and to sit here and gloat would be beneath me, but I told you so. If you follow me on TikTok, I've already given you small clips of what I'm going to talk about today, but a long time ago, I called it. And I got a lot of people giving me backlash for it, but I knew I was right. So to go back a little bit in history, back in 2019, Meghan Markle wrote a quote-unquote private letter to her father, Thomas Markle, talking about her dismay and his behavior in selling secrets and talking to the press, and why they no longer had a relationship with one another. Well, of course, Thomas Markle sold excerpts of this letter to the Daily Mail, which they ran, I believe, a 5-page expose. Now, the Harkles felt that their privacy and their rights were infringed upon, and they went out and sued the Associated Press. This was when they were sue happy, and they were suing anybody and everybody who reported anything that was not complimentary toward the Harkles. Well, back in October of 2020, during the thick of their heavy court case, the Markles were not winning, okay? They were not winning the court case. It was not looking good for them. And all of a sudden, Justice Warby, the judge who was presiding over this lawsuit, made an announcement that Meghan Markle had asked for a 9-month extension of the court case, and that details of that would remain confidential, and he granted them a 9-month extension. Now, at the time, I thought that was strange. Why would you get a 9-month extension? Would you get a 90-day extension, a year extension, a 6-month? But why a 9-month extension? Well, in my opinion, that's when Meghan found out she was pregnant, and she picked up the phone and said, "Granny, Harry and I, we're pregnant. We're expecting a baby. You need to make this lawsuit go away." Now, what people don't know is that Justice Warby had recently received huge honors from Her Majesty the Queen. Now, I'm not saying this gentleman did anything illegal. I'm not saying he did anything wrong. These are all my personal opinions, but they kind of line up with what happened. So in October, he announces he's giving them a 9-month extension where the details of this extension were confidential, meaning she told them quietly she was pregnant. Then, while they're in this 9-month extension, all of a sudden in February, Justice Warby rules in the favor of the Sussexes, and he rules where the Associated Press cannot even file an appeal. He literally cut off the case, closed it, slammed the door, a done deal, and ruled in their favor where they had to be awarded $625,000 from the Associated Press for their legal fees. Now, they're on a 9-month extension. So what, 5 months into the extension, he just decides, I'm going to rule in your favor? Case closed, you can't file an appeal? Nobody thinks that's suspect? I do. I believe the royal family was well aware of all of the royal receipts that were stacking up against the Markles, because you have to remember, during this court case that was happening, Meghan and Harry were not winning, and Meghan was going to have to testify on the stand. And I think the royal family realized this was going to be a royal disaster. This is going to be a fiasco. Meghan's pregnant. We need to squash this. I think Her Majesty picked up the phone and said, you need to make this go away. He said, yes, ma'am, and it went away. So Harry and Meghan had been very, very pompous about winning this court case, right? And, talking about how we were just fighting for justice. We were just doing the right thing. Most recently, Meghan appeared on a talk show where she was a guest, and she haughtily bragged about how she just did the right thing. She just stood up for justice. Meghan's always a warrior of truth, always fighting for people's rights. Well, Harry and Meghan were overly confident that the news and the receipts and the proof, of what's to come wasn't going to happen. They thought it was all dead and buried. Well, what happened was the Associated Press just won their right to appeal the lawsuit. So now, right now in London, they're on their third day of an appeal. So they are fighting for the right to open up the case. And now everything is coming out. So this private letter that Meghan Markle wrote, for her and her father's eyes only, right, was actually written with the intent of it going public. Now, her former communications press secretary, Jason Knopf, provided a very, very bombshell witness testimony saying that the Duchess of Sussex wrote the letter with the full understanding that this letter was probably going to be public. She had a team of royal staff and lawyers and her friends overlooking this letter. She even stated to Jason, and I believe in an email, that I used the word daddy as a way of referring to my father because it's going to pull on the heartstrings of people when they read this letter. What person in their right mind writes a letter to their father with the intent on making sure that anyone else who reads it is going to feel sorry for them? To me, this is full-on manipulation, narcissist right here. This woman had no intention of having this remain a private letter. This was a backhanded, sneaky way for this woman to, let the public know, quote unquote, her truth, her perspective. What she wanted to do was to slam her father in this letter and his behavior of what he did, how he acted with the press, selling stories. And then she talked about how he was a horrible parent, but she still loved him because she's sweet little Meghan, and she's just so disappointed in his behavior. She wrote the letter to where it would come out with her side, making her look like an innocent victim, pulling on the heartstrings of people, but yet slamming her father. She even went to the point of numbering the top of the pages and ending the pages in mid-sentence, so you would have to go to the next page of the letter. So it was hard for him just to pick and choose pages to sell because she was slamming him in this letter. Now, of course, it is known that Thomas Markle did not give the entire letter to the press. He only gave a few select paragraphs and pages because, of course, Meghan is painting him out to be a horrible father and a villain. That was her entire intent with this letter, was a way to say, wait a minute, I didn't want this to be known to the public. I mean, I'm just an innocent little girl. I'm just talking to my daddy. I'm just trying to write a letter and telling him how hurt I am. Well, I didn't know it was going to go to the press, and I didn't know people were going to read all of this salacious gossip in this letter. I mean, I wasn't trying to get this out to the press. Yeah, you were. It was a backhanded way that she knew to get her side of the story out to the press, because she just couldn't come out to the press and say, hey, I'm going to do a sit-down interview and I'm going to tell you my side of the story. So what she did in her crafty little maniacal brain was she crafted this quote-unquote private letter to her father where she puts all of her word salad and her truth in it, and then addresses it to her father, acting like, well, my gosh, I didn't know it was going to get in the hands of the press. I mean, oh my, I'm shocked. And of course, she had to write it in her famous calligraphy. She didn't want it to be in a text. She didn't want it to be in an email. She wanted to show off her writing skills, because you know Meghan really loves her calligraphy. Talk about a narcissist. Talk about manipulation. And according to Jason Knopf, her communications secretary, she meticulously went over every single wording and meaning and detail in this letter. She had her lawyers, she had staff, she had friends. She even shipped a copy to her legal team in America. She had so many people overlooking this private letter that she wrote it with the intent of it going public. So he pretty much, how can you sue a publication for publicizing a letter that you wrote assuming it was going to be public? Now, she gave this letter to her father. And in my opinion, once the letter was delivered to him, it was now his letter. It's not Meghan's letter anymore, because she wrote it for him and she gave it to him. It's like if you buy a Christmas gift for somebody and you wrap it up and you give it to them, it is no longer your gift. It is now their present. They own it, right? It's theirs. So when you give someone a letter, it's their property. So in my opinion, Thomas Markle had every right to share parts of that letter with the press. Was it tacky? Yes. But did he have a right to do so? Yes, he did. So how Meghan and Harry were able to sue this publication for, one, a letter that no longer belonged to them, and two, for a letter that they assumed was going to end up in the public regardless. It makes 0 sense. 0 sense. So Meghan Markle and Harry were losing this case. And it was known that Meghan was going to have to testify. So, of course, they did something. They made some phone calls. Granny came in. Somebody came in from the royal family, and it went away. But now all of it's coming to light with the appeal case and the Associated Press. And Jason Knopf, he was their press secretary, their communications director. He was the person who received all of the complaints of bullying from Meghan and Harry's staff. He actually defended Meghan and Harry, and he was put in a very weird and hard situation because these are his employers. They're the royal family. So he wants to defend the people that work for them, but at the same time, he has to defend Harry and Meghan. So Harry and Meghan, when they were in court originally, in I believe 2019, 2020, pretty much, lied. They lied to the courts on several occasions. But they lied about the letter being public. Meghan acted like, this was stolen property and they infringed upon my rights of privacy, how she's the queen of privacy. Well, Jason Knopf has been sitting on many emails and text messages, and he kept it private. But now that Jason, who actually works for the Cambridges, he works for their Royal Foundation, and he is leaving at the end of December. Well, now that we're in this appeal court case, Jason is singing a new tune. Jason is coming out with some royal receipts. He's dropping the bombshells. He's taking the gloves off. He is no longer protecting the Sussexes. So the other bombshell revelation that Jason just dropped was, we all know about this wonderful cotton candy book called Finding Freedom that was written by Omid Scooby-Doo, and Carolyn Durand, called Finding Freedom. Now, this book was the cotton candy press machine that made Meghan Markle look like a rose. the next, Princess Diana is what she wanted to be called. And of course, Harry and Meghan have denied any collaboration with the authors. They have denied this many, many times, any collaborations or knowledge of this book or working with the authors for the past 5 years. They have denied it. Okay. Well, Jason dropped a bombshell that in fact, Meghan was very aware of this book. He actually let her know about the book, and that through Jason, Meghan and Harry collaborated on several occasions and emails and phone calls with the authors of this book. That Jason himself sat down for 2 hours with the authors to collaborate on the book and to make sure they had factual information. He literally fact-checked everything, according to him and Meghan. Meghan read over the book. She even provided them with background information, which she called reminders, for them to use in their book. Now, most of this information was regarding her family, her extended family, especially her stepsister, her stepbrother, her relationship with her father, Tiaragate, and other rumors that she wanted to make sure that her truth came out in this book. Another subject that Harry wrote in an email, which Jason produced the receipts, talking about how we want to make sure that you talk about how Meghan has been cyberbullied for 2 years and how she's a victim. This, you guys, was in December of 2018. They'd only been married for 6-7 months? Well before Megxit, they were already playing the narrative, Meghan's a bully. Meghan's a victim. They're already playing, Meghan's a victim, let's get it in the book, but we're not collaborating, but we just want to make sure you have all this information for your book. So in my opinion, that sounds like collaboration to me, that you're providing background information, that you're checking off factual stuff, that you're making sure, hey, they add this for the Tiaragate. Oh, make sure they know about this and make sure you talk about the cyberbullying, but we're not collaborating in the book. They did everything through Jason. See, they didn't directly talk to the authors, and their friends supposedly didn't talk to the author, but they talked through Jason, who was communicating with the Duchess on a regular basis on the book. So they were using a paid royal staff member to do the dirty work. He's on the taxpayer's dime. The people of the UK, with their taxes, pay for this man's salary, and the Sussexes were using him for their own selfish gain. And Jason let Meghan know, this book is very favorable to you. It is going to paint you in a really good light. Boy, she loved that. You can just see Meghan smiling behind the scenes, right? How thrilled she was about this cotton candy book that was coming out about her. It was a love poem to Meghan. And I'm telling you, that book sounded so much like Meghan wrote it. I think they probably took passages of her notes and literally pasted it in the book. There was too many weird inside informations on stupid stuff that how would they have known? Literally, just stupid things like how Harry was impressed that Meghan could pack a suitcase and that Meghan was down to earth and could do a great warrior pose as the sun was coming up on the trip in Africa, and how Meghan was down to earth and could take a crap in the woods. I'm not even kidding you guys, that was literally in the book. How would someone who wasn't there know that? They even knew the amount of steps that Meghan took when she went down to that secret vault with the Queen and with Harry to pick out her wedding tiara. How would someone know the exact amount of steps? That's kind of private information. So now she's stating that she forgot. She forgot that her recollections may vary about her communications with Jason Knopf and the Finding Freedom authors and all the emails and the fact that she provided background information voluntarily to these authors. The Finding Freedom authors were not sued. right? Because Harry and Meghan approved, they signed off on this book because they were very aware what was in the book, and they made sure that they covered certain topics and that, quote unquote, their truth was portrayed in the book. And now she's like, oops, I might have forgotten what I said in a court case. I'm sorry if that's perjury. Oops. So the court case they thought was going away is now possibly coming back, and the royal dirt and the receipts are coming out. And Jason Knopf is no longer, after December, going to be employed by the royal family, so he is bringing the receipts. This man is smart. He kept text messages and emails, and I'm sure there's a lot more, because you have to remember the bullying allegations case, I believe, is still going to happen. And all the people who accused Meghan and Harry of bullying reported to this gentleman. So he has a lot of dirt on this couple. So I'm very interested to see what else is going to happen. So let me know your thoughts, guys. What do you think about this court case? Do you think it's going to go to trial? Do you think it's going to be overturned? What do you think about Meghan and Harry finally admitting that they were contributors to Finding Freedom? Leave me your comments, guys, down below. Thank you for stopping by the channel, and I will talk to you guys later.